Hi all. In this video, we'll be discussing on exam tips for ACCA June 2019 session for the paper Advanced Financial Management. Myself, Habeeb Rahiman. I'm an ACCA member and currently lecturing at Lakshya CA campus located in India, Kerala. In this video, we'll be mostly looking at the relevant topics that are expected to be tested for the June 2019 exams. So when we're looking at the key topics from the financial management paper, which was previously said to be F9, it was the key topics were investment appraisal, business finance, business valuation, and risk management. Starting from the base of all these topics, we have a little more advanced topic in the advanced financial management paper as a senior financial advisor in the multinational organization. The key topics are advanced investment appraisal, acquisition and mergers, reconstruction and reorganization, and risk management. For all these key areas, I'll be explaining the expected topics for the June session. When we're looking at the advanced investment appraisal, this time I'm expecting a question from international investment appraisal, or widely said to be foreign NPV. Remember, on this question, there are so many easy marks. Like, you should be familiar with the formats of doing this international investment appraisal. When we're looking at the format, the project cash flows will be written in the foreign cash flows, which will be translated using the expected spot rates, and the translated home currencies will be discounted using the relevant cost of capital at the home country's rate. So the easy marks here are best with the estimation of the future spot rates, either using the interest rate parity theory or purchase power parity theory. That's an easy calculation, and it worth somewhere 2 marks. And our normal techniques like adjustment for inflation, adjustment for tax, all these worth each 1 marks. And another area you have to be careful in this topic is the tax calculation. The countries will be having some bilateral adjustments, so you have to be very careful about is there any top-up tax. We will be paying a tax in the foreign country for the operations in that country, and if at all our country's tax rate is more than the foreign country's tax rate, we have to pay only the additional tax that's said to be top-up tax. Please remember that top-up tax will be calculated on the same amount, which is said to be taxable profit that we are already calculated for the foreign operations tax calculation. Please remember, top-up tax is also on taxable profits. Another key area you have to look at in this topic is if at all any what intercompany transactions, like there will be a royalty, there will be a management fee and all. You have to show it as an expense in the foreign operations working notes, and you have to show it as an income in the home currencies. Please remember, for this income you have to pay a full tax rather than the top-up tax. So these are the key areas you have to be sure about this area, international investment appraisal. And whenever an international investment appraisal question is tested in the exam, a theory question is tested. Will be the different types of business risks that are faced by the organization who are going for an foreign investment. Normally, for foreign investments, the risk are the political risk, any tax changes, fiscal risk, any trade barriers, any cultural difference in the foreign country. These are the main risks you have to mention in the exams. And there is a chance you have to discuss, there will be a question for discussion, the free trade areas and custom unions like our European unions. And there is a chance of getting a question from role of World Trade Organization or World Bank. From the advanced investment appraisal area itself, if at all it's a 50 marks question which is tested in section A, the question will be comprising of real options. Either you will be tested the numerical parts of option to expand or option to dispose or option to delay. The easy marks here is for numericals is to identify the five components P, A, P, E, these S, the T, and the R. That's an easy mark. First of all, you identify those five things. Then it's an easy matter of simply applying the Black-Scholes option pricing equation, which is given in our formula sheet. But remember, these real options are not only tested with the numericals, you have to explain and demonstrate the knowledge in your this options area. Many students mistakenly says this real options as an a traded options. Please go through the theoretical areas. You should talk whenever a question gets in theoretical area regarding this real option, you should talk about the intrinsic value, time value of money, and the value of that flexibility. And due to this value, the value of the project will increases. This will add value to the NPV of previous NPV what we calculated. These comments worth marks, guys. So you should talk about these narrative parts also. And this time I'm expecting a question from transfer pricing. There was an basic transfer pricing knowledge we already gained in performance management FI paper, but here it will be tested more like for the transfer pricing issues for a multinational company. Most of the case, the answers will be it is tested like we have to talk about our objective in when we setting a transfer price is to reduce the total taxation of the group. And when we're fixing a transfer price, we should be being ethical, and we should consider the relationship between the host country and all. So these are the points we have to talk when you're discussing about the transfer price. And there's a chance a question from Treasury Department, decentralization versus centralization, the roles of a manager in a Treasury Department and all. If at all, in a 25 marks question, there is a chance that a classic question, which is a comparison between a project's NPV, IRR, and MIR. So please be careful about calculation of IRR and MIR also. And please remember the concepts of MIRR, which is matching with the concept of NPV using the cost of capital, where IRR's reinvestment assumption is not matching with the MIRR and NPV. There is a chance a sub question to calculate the value of risk. The calculation of value of risk is pretty easy. We are just following that equation. And remember to discuss the concept of value at risk. This is the amount that is going to be reduced, maximum amount that is going to be reduced for an investment at this much percentage of confidence level. And in a classic question like this, in a sub question, there's a high chance to test your knowledge in sensitivity analysis and simulation area. So please practice some questions from these key topics from the advanced investment appraisal area. Another important area is acquisition and mergers, reconstruction and reorganization. These two topics are most of the case tested in a single question. If at all it comes in section A 50 marks question. For 25 marks question, there's a chance this will be a standalone questions. When we're looking at the reconstruction scheme, the questions will be most of the case to prepare a statement of financial position and statement of P&L after the reconstruction scheme. And we need to compare the positions of each key stakeholders before and after the reconstruction scheme happens. But please remember, it's not always to prepare the financial statements. If at all, only you have to prepare this. If at all, only the requirement says to do the same. When we're looking at the acquisition and mergers, the questions most of the case is to calculate the either to calculate the maximum premium or the value of equity gain to the shareholders of the predator or target company. In another case, there's a chance to ask the percentage gain for each target company shareholders shares and the percentage gain to the each shares of the predator company. So these are the numerical questions. The most tested valuation areas are free cash flow methods, either free cash flow to the firm or free cash flow to the equity method, and the PE ratio method, that P divided by E ratio. These are the mainly tested area. So there are so many wonderful questions in the past examinations to practice on this area. Please be careful about on this area. Please don't waste your time on how to start and where to start. There are so many easy marks. Whatever points you are getting from a single question, a simple point, you start with that. There is no a standard way of starting answering for this area. In the case of an investment appraisal questions, most of the case will be start with the sales, inflation, then variable cost, inflation and all, or tax adjustments and all. But there is no standard way of starting for this question. So please don't waste your time for thinking about a standard way of starting. The important thing is you should carefully read the scenario. When we're looking at the theoretical area of this acquisition and mergers, there's a high chance for testing from business reorganization, unbundling of companies like spin-offs, sell-offs, etc. Many times there's an, questions from management buyouts compared with the management buy-ins. There's a technical articles in the ACCA global website. Please read at least once that technical article to get a good idea and good understanding on these topics. The another theoretical areas that are expected from this valuation mergers areas are the takeover regulation. There are so many rules in different countries, but on a general basis, there are some common rules which is explained in our textbook, like examples: squeeze out rights, sell off rights, and principle of equal treatments. The other area of theoretical testing can be the forms of consideration for takeover. There are many forms like cash offer, share offer, or your debentures or bond offers, or a combination of cash and share, cash and bond. And which consideration is forms of consideration is better? We need to identify. And the other question is how we are going to fund or finance the amount for this takeover, whether we go for an equity finance or we go for a further debt finance. And another classic questions from this area is problems of overvaluation and a question from synergy. Mainly three types of synergies: cost synergy, financial synergy, and revenue synergy. You need to pick some examples from the scenario itself to answer these types of questions. So these are the topics that I expected from corporate reconstruction and mergers area. When we're looking at the next final part, risk management, this time there's a high chance to that tested from the forex risk management. A classic question which contains you have to consider the best method of hedging, whether you go with forward or money market hedge, futures or options on futures. When you're writing the forward money market hedge and all, these are the very basic that already tested in F9. That's very easy one. But when you go for a little advanced one like futures and options, please remember you should write the setup things and all. Is it better? Is it we are opening a position to buy or sell the futures, and how many contracts and expiry dates selection and all you should write. Many students are simply skipping they are fastly writing down the calculation. They are doing only that. You are losing the easiest and precious marks on this area. Please careful about that. And when we think about forex risk questions, the examiner want to demonstrate only the futures calculation using that shortcut method, shortcut that lock-in rate only. In the options question, examiners just want to demonstrate only using that exercise price. What will be the worst case scenario? If at all it's an interest risk management, most of the case they are testing that full-fledged. You need to calculate gain or loss and all. But in a forex question for futures, that shortcut method, and for options, the worst case scenario only. The other question from this area, that multilateral netting using that tabular approach, that's very easy one. You will be writing the receipts and payments in a single currency using the mid rate. Most of the case, it will be the parent's currency. There's a high chance that interest swaps can be tested. There is a technical article regarding the how to calculate how a bank is arranging an interest swap. Please read at least once that technical article. Uh, uh, Interest swap calculation using the spot yield curve and forward rate agreements, FRS and all. Please read at least once. And there's a high chance a theoretic theory can be tested from traded options will be compared with the over the counter options or over the counter instruments. Basic thing is the traded instruments are compared with the over the counter. So this is the yeah, topics that I'm expecting for June 2019 exams. Other relevant theory areas are financing decision and dividend decisions. Most of the case, either financing decision or dividend decisions are tested in all of the ACC AFM paper. There are so many questions. I noted down the years also for financing decision. Please be look at the December 2018 third question, September 18th, third question, December 17th, third question, September 17th, third question for financing decision. For dividend decision, you can read June 2018, third question, and June 2017, first question, P part. Please look at all these financing decision, dividend decision. Most of the case, there is a question worth minimum 6 marks from this area. The other technical area is behavioral finance. There is a technical article on this topic. Please read Islamic finance. That doesn't. Most of the cases it's tested for 3 or 4 marks in our exams. And role and responsibility of the financial manager. It's a big chapter which discusses actually the policy developments, stakeholder relationship management, ethics related things we need to be careful about, and environmental issues. There can be chance environmental issues can be tested using the triple bottom line, or the integrated reporting can also be tested. So guys, these are my exam tips or the relevant expected topics for ACCA June 2019. Please remember AFM will be a highly time pressured exam, so please careful about your time management. Good luck guys. I'm just stopping this video. In case if you have any doubts, any quick queries regarding AFM paper, you can contact WhatsApp me on this number and 9895872827, and that's my email ID. All the best, guys. Thank you.